Man, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like every single day something new is happening around the Chicago Bears right now. And today is one of those days that really gets your attention as a Bears fan. Because today, we've got two different stories making waves around this team. And both of them could have a real impact on where this franchise is heading over the next few months. One of them involves a young player with serious upside who could suddenly become available and might be exactly the kind of move this front office should be looking at. The other involves a veteran playmaker whose name alone would instantly get Bears fans talking if Chicago decided to make a move. And what makes all of this so interesting is that we're entering that part of the offseason where teams start making tough decisions. Rosters begin taking shape. Coaches start figuring out who fits and who doesn't. Front offices start looking for opportunities that weren't available a few months ago. That's why these stories matter. Because sometimes the moves that end up changing a season aren't the ones made in free agency or during the draft. Sometimes they're the unexpected opportunities that appear when nobody sees them coming. And Bears fans know this team is trying to take the next step. The expectations are different now. The pressure is different now, which makes every possible addition feel a whole lot more important. So today we're breaking down both stories, what they could mean for Chicago, and whether these are actually moves Ryan Poles and this front office should be considering. But before we jump in, if you're a real Bears fan and you enjoy talking Bears football every single day, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to Bears News Daily, and join us here. My name is Andrew, and this channel is still brand new. We're pushing toward our first 100 subscribers. And I'd love for the people who join this community early to be the fans who truly live and breathe Chicago Bears football. If that sounds like you, subscribe and become part of this journey from the beginning. Alright, let's start with the first story, because this is one that honestly caught me by surprise. A recent article highlighted several potential trade candidates around the NFL as teams move closer to training camp. And one of the names that showed up was Washington Commanders defensive tackle Jer'Zhan Newton. And Bears fans, the moment I saw that name, my ears immediately perked up. For anyone who follows college football, you already know exactly who we're talking about. Jer'Zhan Newton was one of the most dominant defensive players in the country during his time at Illinois. Back in 2023, he won Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year and established himself as one of the most disruptive interior defenders in college football. Then, Washington selected him with the 36th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Now here's where things get interesting. According to Pro Football Focus, Newton was included among 15 possible trade candidates as teams continue evaluating their rosters heading into training camp. The reasoning is pretty straightforward. Washington spent this offseason aggressively rebuilding its defense, especially along the defensive line. One of the biggest moves was signing former Houston Texans defensive lineman Tim Settle to a 3-year contract worth $25.5 million. And when teams invest that kind of money at a position, somebody else usually feels the squeeze. In this case, that somebody could be Jer'Zhan Newton. According to the report, Newton hasn't developed as quickly as Washington hoped when they drafted him early in the second round. His overall Pro Football Focus grade sits at 50.0, and his run defense grade was just 38.6. Those numbers obviously aren't what you'd expect from a player drafted that high. But here's the part that should get Bears fans interested. His pass rushing ability has actually been encouraging. Last season, Newton posted a pass rush win rate of 9.3%, placing him in the 63rd percentile among defenders. And when you look at his production, there are reasons to believe there is still a lot of untapped potential. During his second NFL season, he recorded 5 sacks and 9 quarterback hits. What's strange is that his production improved while his playing time actually decreased. He played 515 snaps during his rookie season in 2024. That number dropped to 432 snaps in 2025. Think about that for a second. Washington had one of the worst defenses in football last year. They allowed 6,533 total yards, which ranked dead last in the NFL. A defense desperate for playmakers reduced the snaps of a former second-round pick who was actually generating pressure more effectively. That doesn't necessarily mean Washington has given up on him, but it absolutely raises questions. And if the Commanders become willing to move him, I honestly think Chicago should be paying very close attention, because let's be honest, one of the biggest conversations among Bears fans this offseason has been whether the defensive front improved enough. The Bears made additions, sure, but many fans still feel there wasn't a major splash addition when it comes to interior pass rush and defensive line depth. Jer'Zhan Newton is still only 23 years old. He's already shown flashes. He knows Illinois. He thrived in this football environment before. And sometimes all a young player needs is a different situation, a different coaching staff, and a fresh opportunity. Would it be a guarantee? Of course not. But if we're talking about low-risk, high-upside moves, this is exactly the type of gamble smart teams make. And honestly, Bears fans have seen enough football over the years to know that former high draft picks don't always fail because they lack talent. Sometimes they're simply in the wrong situation. Now, let's move to the second story, because this one is the definition of a headline-grabbing move. And yes, we're talking about Alvin Kamara. A trade proposal making the rounds suggests the Bears could potentially pursue the longtime New Orleans Saints star running back. He's not the same player who was terrorizing defenses at the peak of his career. But let's not act like this guy suddenly forgot how to play football. Just over a year ago, Kamara produced a career-high 950 rushing yards despite playing only 14 games. On top of that, he added 546 receiving yards and scored 8 total touchdowns. That level of production still matters, especially when you're talking about a player with his versatility. The Bears already have DeAndre Swift. They already have second-year running back Kyle Monangai, who showed flashes during his rookie season. They also have Rashan Johnson, although it feels like the coaching staff has never fully committed to giving him a major role. Former Indianapolis Colts running back Salvon Ahmed was added as depth this offseason. Britton Brown remains in the mix. Undrafted rookie Coleman Bennett is also trying to fight for a roster spot. So on paper, Chicago isn't exactly lacking bodies at running back. But what they may be lacking is a true mismatch creator. And that's where Kamara becomes interesting. Former Saints head coach Sean Payton famously referred to Kamara as a joker player. That term was used to describe offensive weapons who create impossible matchup problems because they can line up almost anywhere and hurt defenses as both runners and receivers. Even at this stage of his career, Kamara remains one of the most natural receiving backs in football. And when you think about Ben Johnson's offense, you can immediately start imagining the possibilities. A player who can motion out wide, a player who can attack linebackers in coverage, a player who can create easy completions for the quarterback, a player who forces defenses to reveal what they're doing before the snap. Those are things offensive coordinators love. Another factor is leadership. Kamara has been through playoff runs. He's handled pressure. He's seen every type of NFL defense imaginable. That kind of experience can help younger players like Kyle Monangai continue developing. The article also points out that Kamara might not cost very much to acquire, especially after New Orleans signed former Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne during free agency earlier this offseason. If the Saints are preparing for the future, moving Kamara could make sense. The question becomes whether Chicago should be interested. Personally, I think this is the more complicated story of the two. Jer'Zhan Newton feels like a future-focused move. Alvin Kamara feels like a win-now move. One is about betting on upside. The other is about adding proven production. One helps strengthen the defensive front. The other potentially adds another dangerous weapon to an offense that was already among the league's best last season. And that's what makes both stories so fascinating, because they reflect exactly where the Bears are as a franchise right now. This team is no longer rebuilding. This team is trying to compete. And once you're in that phase, every possible addition gets analyzed differently. Every roster decision matters more. Every opportunity becomes worth discussing. As Bears fans, we've waited a long time to see this organization operate with real expectations attached to it. That's why stories like these generate so much excitement. Whether it's Jer'Zhan Newton potentially getting a fresh start in Chicago, or Alvin Kamara bringing veteran star power to the offense, both moves would signal a franchise that's actively looking for ways to get better. And honestly, that's what I want to see. I want aggression. I want creativity. I want this front office constantly searching for ways to improve a roster that already has a chance to be dangerous. Now, I want to hear from you. If you could only make one move, which one would you choose? Would you trade for Jer'Zhan Newton and invest in the future of the defensive line? Or would you bring in Alvin Kamara and give Ben Johnson another weapon for this offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I know Bears fans are going to have strong opinions about both. And if you enjoyed today's update, don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to Bears News Daily if you genuinely believe this team is heading in the right direction. We're still a brand new channel trying to reach our first 100 subscribers. And every single Bears fan who joins early is helping build this community from the ground up. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And as always, bear down.